And my next speaker is Mr. Miles Nadal, that was supposed to be the keynote speaker at our conference in Toronto before COVID changed our plans. So that didn't happen. Miles, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. It's nice to be here. Thank you very much for the kind of generous invitation.
And I have to say a couple of things about you, Miles. I have all these questions here for you, but I'm going to go in a different direction just to understand your background. First of all, I want to say that when I came to Toronto to do my research on who should I talk to, who's doing this, who's doing that, when we started to build the conference, your name came up from different directions, and not just your collection of old amazing cars that I heard of a lot. We'll talk about that maybe at some point. And then another thing I have to say is that you are extremely nice person. When I reached out to you on LinkedIn asking you a question, I got a response, I think the same day. And I think this is very nice, and not everybody are like that. So I'm very, very happy to have you here with us today. And just a couple of words.
My pleasure to be.
There are not too many people, because this is a cross-Canadian conference. And when we build our events in Vancouver and Montreal, we always bring the main speakers from those cities. So, some of them are known, like Desmarais de Gaspé, some of them are very local. And they're in Toronto, I don't think there are many people who don't know who you are. But for everybody else, I'll just say Miles is an international entrepreneur, philanthropist, and the founder and executive chairman of Peerage Capital Group. And it's one of North America's leading luxury residential real estate brokerage networks, and includes that's Peerage Realty, and includes Chestnut Park Real Estate, Christie's International Real Estate affiliate, Baker Real Estate, Fifth Avenue Real Estate, and many others, Madison and Company. And I wanted to ask you, and in the wealth management sector, your partners include Echelon Wealth Management, Artemis Wealth Management, Ars Investment Partners, Vestcap, and many others. And you guys have over $7 billion under management.
Actually, the number's 11 billion now, but
11 billion now. So that's the version we got. So 4 billions later. And I wanted to ask you, first of all, you became such a prominent name, and you are a very known philanthropist. How did that happen? I mean, where did you grow up? How did you end up here?
So I learned a lot about philanthropy when I was younger, because we were the beneficiary of Jewish Federation. I grew up in 900 square feet, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. My parents' combined income was $10,000. I got subsidized to go to summer camp at the JCC at Spadina and Bloor, which is now called the Miles Nadal JCC, because I said if I was ever fortunate enough to be successful, I'd like to pay back the kindness and generosity of those who helped me along my journey. I guess there was a quote from Forrest Witchcraft that got my attention. And he said, 100 years from now, no one will ever remember the car you drove, the house you lived in, or for that matter, how much money you had in your bank account. But the world may be a different place if you made a difference in the life of a young person. So I have always had this quest to try and help those less fortunate. I've bicycled up my ambitions of my philanthropy and generosity. I guess I've been doing this for 42 years. For the first 30 years, I actually made commitments and I prayed I could honor them. And in the last 10 years, I've actually had no difficulty honoring the commitments, and I keep increasing my commitments. And I don't know, God seems to be kind. And as I give more, I seem to receive more. So that's how I stayed with it. Our business is a reverse family enterprise. The first 2 people I hired were my parents. And we started, in 1980, I was 21 years old. And I was a photographer who took pictures of kids at summer camp. And I got into sports teams. And then there was a guy named Martin Sorrell who started a company called WPP, stood for Wire and Plastic Products. And when we decided that we would do a reverse takeover of a public shell the way he did. And we went public on Friday, October the 16th of 87, the day before Black Monday. So as Friedrich Nietzsche said, that which does not kill me makes me stronger. So we went through all kinds of adversity, hardship, struggles, but we seem to fail forward. So, and 42 years later, things have been pretty good.
Wow. And okay, so at Courage Capital, you have accumulated a significant private portfolio of operating companies. And yeah.
So I was going to say, let me give you a perspective on sort of how the portfolio breaks down. We're in the real estate services, and then financial services and asset management business. So start with financial services, asset management. We have about $11 billion of third-party money. About 20% of that is in the United States. About 80% of that is in Canada. We started that from zero. We've grown both organically as well as through acquisition. In the real estate business, we have about 3 million square feet of self-storage. We have about 30 properties. Our ambitions, we started that 5 years ago from scratch. Our goal is to grow that to 10 million square feet over the next 5 to 10 years. It's a very good asset class. We are in the residential land assembly business in and around Toronto and the GTA, and partners. It's a business called Trolleybus, partners with a very famous entrepreneur in Canada named Jay Hennick. And then Peter Cohen and Steve Pustel has been my partner for 32 years. And so we have about 5 million square feet of residential land assembly. And the one that I've been focused most on lately is real estate services. So we'll sell somewhere between 40 and $45 billion of residential real estate. Our biggest brand is Sotheby's International Realty. We own the franchise for Canada, for Chicago, for New Hampshire, for Stowe, Vermont, and now for Dallas and Fort Worth, Texas. And we're trying to consolidate as many of these operations across North America. We're in the mortgage and title and home improvement business. We recently got into a partnership in a business called Our Borough, which is in the co-ownership of homes. So if you buy a home today, let's assume the average home is $1 million, you need $200,000 as a down payment. Most people in Canada do not have that unless they can rely on the bank of ma and pa. So the average Canadian can come up with $50,000. We'll co-invest the other $150,000. We'll own the house in partnership with them. And 10 years from now, they'll either refinance us out or we'll sell the home and they'll get their share of the equity. So we're doing different things around real estate asset management as well. But, you know, real estate services and around residential real estate has been a principal focus for us and will continue to be. Our goal is to sell $100 billion of residential real estate annually over the next 5 to 10 years.
Very impressive. And I should talk to you about that as well and mention as well to our audience here that we do have a sub-conference dedicated to real estate and family offices. We've done it in Canada. We do those with the leading legal firms in the world. So Baker McKenzie in London. Here in the States, we've done it with Harry Feinstein and Clifford Chance and Reed Smith. And in Canada, with Steichman in Toronto and with Fasken in Montreal. So, and we did it with KPMG as well. So it's that's the only thing we deal with. So I would definitely want to talk to you about
sure,
that.
Please. We would welcome that.
And I would like to ask you, so where does in all of that the Nadal family office fit in the bigger picture?
So our structure is a little different than most. It is, I am the sole source of capital for all of our ventures. Management participates as a partner in the future growth and development, but 100% of the common equity is purchased by and invested in by the Nadal family. And we've done that intentionally because we think we have a different time horizon than most people. So our preferred holding period is forever. Our goal is to be able to look at something and say, do we want to own this for 25 years? Is this an asset that we think we can add value to, etc. Now we are very blessed to have remarkable partners at Peerage Capital, and Peerage Capital and the Nadal family office are sort of interchangeable, because these are all people that have been with me. The principal people have been with me between 10 and 40 years. So it's like the Roach Motel. You can come in, but you can never leave. So Trevor Maunder, our CEO of the parent company, is also one of the executors of my estate. He's 49 years of age. He's been with me for 22 years. All the other people have been with me for many, many decades. And so we look at our investments on the basis of what will be good for the Nadal family over generationally, and ensuring that we have responsible dynastic wealth transfer. But the management team also are partners with me. And so they share the same common objectives. What I've been fortunate though is to find people that are patient enough. They want to get rich slowly. There's a famous quote that Jeff Bezos asked Warren Buffett about his investment strategy. He said, Mr. Buffett, your investment strategy seems to be so simple. Why don't more people emulate it? He said, well, most people don't want to get rich slowly. And, we used to think that, it takes 25 years to build a great enterprise. And we have been, persistent along the path that says we want to create long-term value, or be long-term greedy. And that's sort of the path that we have followed. We have evolved from pure service businesses to service and then asset management businesses, both asset management in terms of wealth management, but also we look at real estate as a fantastic long-term dynastic asset that, if it's income producing, especially, it's a great asset for long-term wealth transfer. And that's where we've been shifting more of our focus.
What do you think which factors will influence the evolution of your family office? Are there issues or outcomes you are actively tracking?
Look, most of these things are outside of my pay grade and my intellectual zip code. Can I really anticipate what's going to happen to interest rates, what's going to happen to inflation, what's going to happen to cap rates? I can't. I basically say, if based upon where we are today, we can invest in things that produce really good risk-adjusted reward returns, we're happy to own them. I have simple mindsets, and I'll explain to you. I went around to see the wealthiest families in the country, and I asked them in a subtle way, how did you become so successful? And, it was about long-term investing. And when it came to real estate, people said, if you have 40 to 50% loan to value, you will sleep well at night, despite any economic uncertainties, any setbacks in the economy. So I said, okay, I'm not that smart. I'm a professional plagiarizer. We should operate at 40 to 50%. And having run, public companies and been very, very aggressive in using leverage to grow our businesses, I basically said, I'm 63 and a half years old. I've had 8 hair transplants. I got limited donor area left. I got another 20 years left to build. I'd like to be levered at 1.5 to 2 times, maybe 2.5 times leverage, and then pay it down if there's nothing else to grow. So these are simple things, because I don't think anyone that I know is smart enough to know what will happen to rates, what will happen to inflation, what will happen to cap rates, will we have a recession, how big, for how long. So I just say, assuming all of those things that go against me happen, are we in a position to live long enough? That's the key. Like you got to be able to weather the storms. And if you have fiscal conservatism of some basis, you should be able to do so. Now, that was not the evolution, Denny, of how I got to where I am. But having got to where I am, I basically said, okay, I don't want to be 8 times levered. I don't want to do any of those things. I'm in the fortunate position. As one of my friends, Ira Harris, once said to me, being richer is not as good as being poor is bad. As good as it feels to make money, it really is terrible to lose money. So we're trying to be more, golf analogy, just trying to play down the center of the fairway.
Got it. And of course, there's so much more to your story about how you evolved and how you built yourself, which hopefully we'll be able to do in person at our main conference in Toronto next year. The first speaker, by the way, at my first Toronto conference at the Four Seasons was Izzy Sharp, which for me was, we got the guy that actually came up with the idea sitting here at the first event at the Four Seasons. So,
Canadian Horror, he just turned 90 and he is remarkably, they had an article in the Toronto Star. He just turned 90 years young. He's remarkably fit, remarkably, energetic and still going strong. And he's the gold standard, in my opinion, of all entrepreneurs. He's in both social terms, in philanthropic terms, in business terms, from a community leadership. He's the gold standard for everybody to aspire to.
And I'd love to hear how you see entrepreneurship, because it's funny. Another good friends of ours are the Silverstein family. And Larry Silverstein, I'm not even sure how old he is now. I think north of 90.
North of 90.
Every single day he's coming to the office, every single day. And there's something about entrepreneurs that they never, ever stop, right? When you look at these guys, Izzy Sharp, Larry Silverstein, Sam Zell.
Remarkable.
Yourself, even you could have retired long time ago, go to the yacht club. You probably do go to the yacht club, but go more to the yacht club and take it easy. What do you think is it about entrepreneurs that just...
So it's funny, before I came on here, I was watching CNBC, and they had Nelson Peltz on from Trian on the call, and he's turning 80 years of age, and he's 80 going on 56. He keeps motoring along. I think that true entrepreneurs love what they do. What did Henry Ford say? If you love what you do, you'll never work another day in your life. You look at entrepreneurs, Warren Buffett's another great one. What's he, 88 or 89? Said he loves what he does. Great entrepreneurs love building businesses. They love to build things. They love the intellectual and emotional challenge. They're usually good at it. I think the financial success is really just an outcome. But I think they really love the challenge of thinking outside the box, creating new industries, going against, conventional wisdom. People ask me, will you retire? And I say, yes, I will. And they say, oh, you don't look like the retiring kind. I said, no, I will. 5 years after I pass away, I am committed to my retirement. Look, I love the people I interact with. I love the intellectual challenge and the intellectual stimulation. I enjoy the economic reward. And, most importantly, it gives me an opportunity to fill my real principal ambition in life, which is, in my lifetime, I'd like to give away $180 million. And you obviously understand why 180, 18 means good luck. And I've given away about a third of that. And I've got some time to make up the difference. And to me, that will be a legacy that I will be very proud of for both myself and my family. And I think it's a good example for my children.
Which brings me to ask you, speaking about retirement, what about next gen? Are you getting them in the business? Who's going to be the next? How do you see that?
So I have wonderful children. They have not demonstrated a dedication to commercial enterprise, but they are very committed to their own career development and very involved in philanthropy. I see them very involved in our philanthropic foundation, and hopefully they will also develop their own foundation. We have built a business around professional management. I have been dedicated to this for about 10 years. I've been very dedicated to for the last 5 years, extremely. And what we have a program called what we call LAM, Life After Milesy. And everything we do every day is about creating a platform that will go on far beyond my own lifetime. And that we don't need to sell things, monetize things. We don't need to bring in third-party capital. And so we're in a very unique position. And we want to make sure that we have the right people in place. I think they'll be sad if I'm gone. I hope they'll be sad. But they will continue on to build far beyond my own contribution. And I am more and more, Denny, stepping back. Not only am I not involved in the day-to-day operations, but I do still have a very firm hand on the checkbook. I am still very involved in capital allocation decisions, but more because I like to than I have to. My team is remarkably diligent. They feel an incremental degree of responsibility because it's my capital. Like it's not like we're a public company and I own a chunk of it, but it's 3/4 owned by ever. They know that they're investing my family's money, although they have a significant upside participation. They know that 100% of the downside relies with us. And so I think they take it very seriously. But, we've been building this now for, going on 20 years of just this evolution of peerage. I think we value institutional continuity. We value people who've been with us a long time. Our operations manager is a woman who's 58 years young. She's been with me since she's 21 for 37 years. And so there are many examples of that within the family office, and we value that incredibly. And they are the people who will also be taking care of, God willing, my children, my grandchildren, etc. And so we are relying on a professional management development program. We've got young, extraordinary guys that are in their 20s, 25, 27, 29, 32. And we're now looking at them as the succession of the succession.
Miles, it's been extremely interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at our in-person conferences that moved to next year because of the restrictions of COVID that are still there. And just last question I have to ask you, because you quoted so many famous, great quotes. It's not the famous people that matter. So your favorite book is what I wanted to ask you. What
my favorite? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Your favorite book, or maybe two if you cannot really choose.
I found I thought Shoe Dog, the Nike story about Phil Knight, was a remarkable one. I would say all of the Warren Buffett biographies I have found fantastically interesting. But right here in Canada, I would say Izzy Sharp's book about how he started Four Seasons and his value system and what's important to him. As I said before, he's the gold standard that every entrepreneur should aspire to. He's not the richest, but he's certainly the most well-rounded.
Miles, thank you very much for being with us today. And I'm looking forward to meeting you in person.
My pleasure. I would look forward to that. And thank you very much for the generous invitation. And I look forward to participating and attending your next conference in person.
Thank you so much, Miles. Stay safe. Safe travels.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you so much.
Take care.